Hi, my name is Lily, and I'm a student at Big Charter Schools, and this is my speech for the TEL class Intro to Communications. I am of Choctaw descent, but I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. I'm a junior in high school and working towards getting a year of college before I graduate. My goal after I graduate is to be part of Walt Disney Animation Company. In 10 years, I see myself working on an animated film for the company and hope to see my name in the credits in theater. My strongest communication skill is to be able to communicate with people that are shy and afraid to share their ideas. I feel that I can understand them since I am also shy and scared myself. I also feel this nature comes from my Choctaw side, since they were afraid to speak their mind because they knew they'd be shamed for it. Today I will talk about the three main components that affect communication: cultural identity, nonverbal communication, and mass communication. A main thing to identify when it comes to culture and communication is if it's collectivist or individualist culture. I definitely believe Choctaw Nation is collectivist because they rely on one another to be a strong community and work through problems together. An example would be the Great Seal of the Choctaw Nation. It displays a pipe, which represents community, and an unstrung bow, which represents their love of peace, but willingness to attack those who hurt their family or community. This view of the world really isn't that far off from how I would do anything to protect my family, and how I don't want to cause harm or chaos, but if you hurt my family, I will not take it lightly. Another factor of Choctaw culture is their social structure of leadership. They have what's called a servant leadership, where they prioritize their people's needs first. This is also very similar to how I think of others' needs before my own. Before the U.S. forced natives to have their own plots of land, they would share land with multiple families in their same clan. The reason for this was because some families couldn't afford their own housing. I would compare this way of helping and supporting others in need to how I would help my friends and family in any hardship or situation. A strong point in my communication skills is knowing when someone is not feeling themselves that day and to not push them into something. Next, I'm going to talk about nonverbal communication and how it affects my ability to communicate with others. In Choctaw culture, nonverbal language impacts almost everything and is very important when interacting with people from their tribe. A main difference between the U.S. and Choctaw people is their body language. For example, the Choctaw people don't point with their fingers, rather they point with their lips or eyebrows. Another main detail when talking to someone is their eye contact. My American culture would think that you don't care what's being said if you aren't looking at the person when they're speaking. In contrast, Choctaw culture believes it's rude to look at someone in the eye when they're speaking. Instead, you look at their mouth or forehead. A third contrasting factor is that in American culture, it's friendly to give someone a firm handshake when greeting them for the first time. This is the opposite in Choctaw culture, where it seems offensive or aggressive to do so. I tend to lean more towards the calmer way of greeting someone when I meet them for the first time. I see how they are acting and how they approach me before I act upon them, to avoid scaring or offending them. One final thing to know about nonverbal communication and the Choctaw people is that they rely more on this method of communication, so they can detect these nonverbal cues a lot faster than most other cultures. I feel that I detect some of these cues as well because I can tell when someone really cares about what I'm saying. This ability to tell someone's personality or emotion is useful when working with coworkers for the first time at a job, because I'll know how to work best with each person. My final point to discuss about communication is mass communication and the advantages and disadvantages of using it. The Choctaw people have depended on mass communication for decades to spread their culture and keep their story alive. One way they do this is by the use of storytelling, which they pass down stories for generations. Also, they usually only spoke to each other instead of writing stories or notes or messages down. This has made people believe that this is why they can speak so well and really think of their words before speaking. The Choctaw people don't shy away from sharing their ways of their culture, and they even hold dances and traditional craft demonstrations to this day. Even an important time in history involves communication with the Choctaw people. During World War I, a group of natives called the Choctaw Code Talkers were an important part in the U.S. taking down the Germans. They communicated with their own language, which most didn't know at the time, and gave commands and messages to how and when the Germans would strike. With anything, there are advantages and disadvantages, and it applies to mass communication as well. One advantage to using a lot of mass communication is that you can spread your heritage and culture with so many, and they wouldn't be able to learn about their past family members if there wasn't this type of communication, which is very important to be able to pass down to so many generations. One disadvantage is that not everyone likes to hear about others' cultures and may show hate or not be kind to your heritage. I will use mass communication to share my views and beliefs on a topic or problem with my future colleagues, and may even give a new idea or solution to the problem. In this speech, I have stated how culture, nonverbal communication, and mass communication affect all types of communication with others. I have showed the connection between my Choctaw and American culture and how it affects how I connect with people, spread ideas, and my future career. Communication and culture are very much connected and will be important in my future. Researching my Choctaw culture has taught me to be proud of who I am and where I come from.